are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the College Loop live reaction show, where we're going to be reacting to Demarcus Riddick announcing his commitment to the Auburn Tigers over the Georgia Bulldogs and the Alabama Crimson Tide. A surprise to us all. He got a couple of crystal balls and some prediction as it went along, but he stayed. I don't know. I was almost say he stayed true, but he announced that he's flipping his commitment from the Georgia Bulldogs to the Auburn Tigers. And Colin, before I introduce you, I'm just going to let everybody know he put on this hat, a hat that I think I've made very popular. So the sources can say that he is a friend of the show, if you will. But Colin, just how you doing, and what are your thoughts on the pickup right now?
I mean, I'm doing great. As an upcoming senior, I have not seen a 5-star recruit get signed at my time on the Plains. So it's in football, I should say. So it's a good feeling to see that happen.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been the first time since 2019 was the last time the Auburn Tigers got themselves a 5-star, and that being Owen Pappoe and Bo Nix, of course. And now I'm just kind of pulling up the class right now, see if Auburn is updated, and they are up to, or they have not yet. They've not updated the polls quite yet, because Auburn is still at 38, and with the commitment of as soon as Demarcus Riddick gets added to his point totals, expect at least an 11-point increase in the ratings. And I see James Barnett's here. What's up, James? You see a top 5, top 10 class. I think that's not out of the realm of possibilities right now. If you look at what Auburn can do with Big Cat Weekend coming up, and now you have yet another commit who is a high-profile player coming to the Plains for that weekend. And I mean, he joins the likes of Walker White, Fat Burnett, Perry Thompson's going to be on the Plains, and he is yet to announce he's going to flip or not. But Colin, are you going to be around for Big Cat Weekend covering it at all?
Yeah, not covering it, no, but I'm gonna be paying very close attention. I'm moving next week, so I'm starting to get into all that. So I'm taking a little step to the side, but I'm very excited to see what this weekend shows.
Yeah, and it's going to be a big one. And just to talk about Demarcus Riddick some more, I mean, we went into I felt weirdly confident going into his commitment. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Auburn's going to get him. But on the flip side, I was also, there's no way we pull this off, right? Like, there's no way this is happening. And I mean, he did it was a gimmick. I love the gimmicks that we've been seeing, especially this one. So it was his mother's birthday. And so he bought himself a hat and put it in a happy birthday gift bag. Gave it to his mom for her to open, and then he reached in the bag and grabbed the hat and put it on. This hat, by the way, I cannot emphasize enough that it was this hat right here. And I was wearing my white hat, but then I was like, oh, yeah, this is being worn today. But just overall, just a great, huge pickup, and who is now the number 1 player in the class of the 2024. And I mean, you can only go up from here. And I wish 24/7 was a little bit better about updating their ratings and stuff. But I've seen a lot of people talk about how he might lose his 5-star rating now that he's committed to Auburn.
That would be crazy. I'd be a little upset, especially because just watching his tape, I think it's 5-star. You see, obviously he plays both ways in high school. He's like their running back, and he returns punts, and he plays on the defensive line. It's crazy to watch him play.
Yeah, and I mean, when you watch him play, he is just so athletic. He's so fast. He's quick. He can cover. He can pass rush. I mean, he is. I look at Owen Pappoe the same way I look at Demarcus Riddick. Just the speed, the athleticism, and just what he can do on the field. And I think there's a probably 80% chance, and that could definitely just go up from there, that Demarcus Riddick is going to be a starter as soon as he enrolls at Auburn. And I mean as soon as he does. Just because with the struggles Auburn is going to have at linebacker this season, just because you have a revolving door of the second stringers. Demarcus Riddick's going to come in. He's coming in with Joseph Phillips and D'Angelo Barber. And that is a class of linebackers right there that is going to make a huge, huge impact in the future for the Auburn Tigers. And just, Colin, just what can this linebacker core do with the 3 young guns coming in 2024?
Well, obviously, I mean, the sky is the limit for them. They're going to control their own destiny, but seeing those 3 coming together is huge. I hope they will keep all 3 of them just throughout their whole collegiate career, and they don't take reps away from each other and compete too hard, but iron sharpens iron. I think these 3 are going to be some difference makers, especially looking at our linebacker core now.
And this is now, again, like I just said, the 3rd linebacker added in the class, a class that is getting very, very heavy on the defense. And I like it. I like there's four DBs, there's 3 linebackers, there's a quarterback, a running back, a tight end, and a wide receiver. So you just nice little 4 offensive line, all different positions. But with the upward trend that Auburn is going on right now, and we'll get more in depth on Demarcus Riddick in a second, it's not out of, like, I know I say this a lot, right? Or at least this live, I've said it a couple of times now. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Perry Thompson could soon follow suit as another flip for the Tigers, who would just make this class look even better on paper.
Like that would be amazing to see 2 5-stars, just that close in the same class. Even like I said, not seen one my entire Auburn student career, so I'm pretty excited. But to have 2 would be crazy, especially on offense and defense. Let them both work.
Yeah, and dude, I'm just imagining it. Auburn has Josh Aldridge, the Auburn linebacker coach, now has talent to really work with. And yeah, I like Austin Keys, but he's got like 1 more year of eligibility. Wesley Steiner, Cam Riley, Eugene Asante, and I'm not going to put Woodyard in there right now because we don't know what he can do. Really, we've not really seen him on the field that much, and we don't really know what Larry Nixon can do now that he's in the SEC. But with Steiner, Riley, and Asante all possibly leaving after this year because of graduation, or if they want to try their hands at the draft, or just they need or transfer or anything, there is a world where Auburn could have 2 true freshman linebackers starting in 2024. Because I know Joseph Phillips right now is listed as an edge rusher, but I still think he might throw himself in as, I guess, Jack is a linebacker position. So I guess there's a world where Auburn could start 3 true freshmen in 2024. And I mean, that defensive like pass rush right there with Demarcus Riddick, D'Angelo Barber, and then you have Joseph Phillips coming off the edge. And on the other side of that edge is a 1-year developed Keldrick Falk. And that makes that 2024 defense look very, very young and very, very formidable for the age that it is going to go into that year with.
Yeah, I mean, you keep saying their freshman year. I'm thinking like once we let them have time to develop. Like obviously, you start three freshman linebackers. It's a double-edged sword. There you have a little bit of inexperience at maybe one of the positions you probably need the most experience, a big leader on the defense. But to watch those 3 grow, let's say you have 3 freshman linebackers that start. They're just going to keep getting better their sophomore and their junior year. And as this team develops and gets better and more talent comes in, the sky is truly the limit in this Hugh Freeze era, I think.
Yeah, maybe pushing the gas pedal a little too much with all 4 guys being freshmen in some way. But I mean, if Austin Keys stays and Demarcus Riddick's right next to him, that linebacker core, I mean, it's sunshine pumping a lot. Just saying that a true freshman is better than everything that's already on the roster at Auburn, but that's the truth. I think Demarcus Riddick could have reclassified to class 2023, came to Auburn, and then probably would have started over some of these guys that are already on roster. Because I mean, if you watch the show, I mean, you know how much we don't really care for the linebacker room that much, and how wishy-washy that it really is. And after Austin Keys, that it's just not that good, or at least unproven. In Robert Woodyard's case and Larry Nixon's case. But just going into this season, and the class right now is going to be top 20, I think top 27. I'm going to do the little class calculator thing real quick. because I have to make sure that I'm right on this, just because I just have to be. So if you had Demarcus Riddick, and if I can spell his name correct, your class goes from a 191 to a 209 in team score, which in that return, if he goes to 209, that puts you right behind Ole Miss at 26. So right at 27. So you jump 11 spots up just from one guy. And there's no telling what I could add Perry Thompson in that as well. But and KJ Bolden as well. I think out of all the 5 stars that we had listed available a few weeks ago, with Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Demarcus Riddick, and KJ Bolden, I find it funny the way I looked at it. I saw Cam Coleman as the most likely to commit to Auburn, and I saw Demarcus Riddick as the least likely to commit to Auburn, which is hilarious knowing what has happened, transpired over the past couple weeks now. But you go into this upcoming Big Cat weekend, and you bringing in KJ Bolden, Jalewis Solomon's going to be there. 2 guys who are committing the week after Big Cat weekend. Like this is their last chance to really get into their heads about, hey, if you want to be part of something special, come to Auburn. And I mean, yeah, Demarcus Riddick could have gone to Alabama. He could have gone to Georgia. He could have just been another linebacker for those teams. But he chose to come to Auburn and do something special. And playing time is always the best recruiting strategy, especially when you're a team of Auburn's caliber. And yeah, Auburn is slowly moving on up for the better, I think, in terms of linebacker progression, because I think Josh Aldridge was really good at Liberty in progressing his linebacker core. And I can't say the same for the last couple of years of the Auburn coaching staffs, but I mean, you hope this is we said who it was. Perry Thompson, I think, was the domino that Tarr said was going to be the first to fall. This is officially the first domino that has fallen for the Auburn Tigers. And this is a pretty huge, spelled Hughge, domino that has fallen for the Auburn Tigers. And I mean, going to Big Cat weekend, you think you could probably pull a couple more 5 stars, right?
I was about to say, it's the timing for me for this domino to fall. To have this happen right before we have all of our best talent coming in for Big Cat weekend, where we're really trying to wow them and sell them on Auburn and coming to here and playing. It's just huge to have this right now, because you open up a world of opportunity with this 5-star recruit.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, like this is a guy who is more than likely going to be starting, if not game 1, very soon afterwards. And I mean, if you can find a way to get Perry Thompson to flip from Alabama, like you just got Riddick to do that as well. If you can get Perry, if you can get Thompson to do that, if you can get Bolden to do that, if you can get Camarion Franklin to commit to Auburn, if you can get Jalewis Solomon to commit to Auburn over Florida State, I mean, this is going to end up being, at the bare bones of it, a top 12 class just with those players alone. And that is going to be a jump that we've just seen in the past week, where it is going to be from 38 to now it's going to be 27 to then it's going to be 12 in just 2.5 short weeks. There's so much momentum going on in Auburn's recruiting staff right now that it's just ridiculous. And you hope the hype builds up enough to where you pick up these guys. And, maybe Cam Coleman's not fully out of the realm possibility anymore to flip him from A&M. That could happen. And weirder things have happened, like what we just watched. Because, like I said, I was weirdly confident that Auburn was going to get Demarcus Riddick, but I was also terrified by the fact that I had just bought into so much hype behind the 2 crystal balls that came out from one came out from 24/7 and one came out from Rivals, and then I just never trust any of the predictions from On3 anymore. After the Cam Coleman thing, I never trust On3's prediction system anymore. But just the timing's right, the momentum's right, and I mean, in the famous words of Trevon Reed, we ain't done yet. And Colin, who do you think? And it's going to be just a weird question. Who do you think is going to be the next guy to really next big commit for the Auburn Tigers? Just put you on the
So
spot.
I feel really good about Perry Thompson. I've felt good about him for a while. This past week has been the first time. Like, you asked me 2 weeks ago if Perry Thompson was going to commit to Auburn. I said 100% yes. Now I'm like at an 80. He has promised both Auburn and Bama a visit this weekend, so he's going to see both schools and take in what we both have to offer and go off that. But I think that Auburn has a lot to offer, and with his boy Riddick here now, I think that just adds to it. You get to see the vision of what we're building here. That's big.
Yeah, and Demarcus Riddick is going to be a part of yet another unofficial high school recruiting staff for the Auburn Tigers, following Walker White, Jalen Crawford, Fat Burnett, Amon Lane, Jaden Lewis, Malik Blockton, all those guys. D'Angelo Barber, who he said his first instinct or his first response when he committed to the Auburn was, "What's your next move?" And he said, "I'm gonna go flip Demarcus Riddick. He's gonna make sure he came to Auburn right after he did." And holy crap! I have not experienced this. Just the pure bliss of a happy recruiting cycle in years. And I was excited whenever Auburn got Bo Nix and Owen Papo, but I've never just sat down, looked at a recruiting class from the ground up, and was like, "This is his first recruit. This is Hugh Freeze's first recruiting cycle, by the way." Like, yeah, he had the little BS one in 2023 where he was just flipping guys right before they signed, but this is his first full time, and he is going at it like a rabid dog. And he just flipped a linebacker. I cannot stress this enough. A linebacker who was looking at two teams who were known for their linebackers and how they produce in the NFL. And that just shows how much of a good recruiter Hugh Freeze is. And we talk about all the time, Hugh Freeze is already the best recruiter that I've experienced in my lifetime as an Auburn fan. And that might be a little premature to say that, but all these other guys I've been watching, like Bo Nix was coming to Auburn no matter what. That's not really like a huge recruiting move to go get Bo Nix out of Pinson Valley. He bleeds Auburn still. There was no doubt in my mind that he was not going to go to Alabama. That was not going to happen with Bo Nix. After his dad threw touchdowns against Alabama and Tuscaloosa, that was not happening. But I'm watching Hugh Freeze take a team that a lot of people are saying are going to finish 6th or 7th in the West, a team who is like bottom of the barrel in the SEC in terms of where people are ranking them, teams that people are predicting not make bowl games. And he is slowly turning his first recruiting cycle into a potential top 15 class.
And this is what Hugh Freeze does. This is what he's done at every stop along the way. He's gone in and he's turned programs around. And whether we want to admit it or not, that we needed turning around after Brian Harsin. You can't go miss a bowl game and not say that you're not in a bad spot. And Hugh Freeze is trying to take us from that to back where we need to be.
Yeah, and he is starting off hot and heavy on it as well, because I'm still in shock that he committed. I'm still very much in shock that it happened, and I think it was go ahead.
I just think the biggest thing is how hard Bama was also recruiting him. Like, they weren't just soft on this guy. Like, he was riding it with Saban to their A-Day game, in Saban's car. This is not some guy that they kind of wanted. This is a guy that they went all in for, and Hugh Freeze went all in for it. Hugh Freeze took that away from them.
And I find that funny in and of itself, because I was on Twitter a lot this week. I'm on Twitter a lot every day, really. Bama fans were very high on the fact of they were going to get Demarcus Riddick. I want to say all the way up until Sunday, and then they realized something. They heard something, or just something didn't go their way, and then everything turned into, well, he just wants to go over there and play. Well, he just got a lot of money from Auburn. Auburn just broke the bank to pay him to go over there. We don't need him anyways. And then they also commented at his grandma for some reason.
The grandma stuff. You don't go after a recruit's grandma and be like, "Come to our school," but we hate your grandma. That didn't make any sense to me. And then I saw stuff like they were making like fake profiles or something and talking about his grandma. It was all weird. That was really weird to me.
I just don't understand why you would. I mean, it started off at first like she tweeted out talking about the message board stuff. Like, every fan base has those toxic, like, annoying people on message boards that you just don't want to acknowledge that are part of your fan base. And I forgot who went and did it, but they screenshotted all the message boards from Bama fans, and then she commented saying all this like stuff and how nasty it was that they were talking about her grandson. And then people were commenting, "Well, you're not his actual grandma." And then she went out and she got all the pictures, like the last like 4 pictures of her with him, and was like, "I am. I've been on every visit. I am actively always with my grandson." She was right next to him on stage. Like, she was like off to the left a little bit. I think not next to the head coach, but next to, I think, one of the coaches maybe. But it's just so funny to me that there was you didn't hear a lot from Georgia fans though. I think Georgia pretty much admitted pretty much early on that he was an early Georgia commit, but then Bama and Auburn both came at him very hard. And I guess it was very telling from the ground up that he was just not committed to Georgia anymore. And then it was just a race for the Iron Bowl right there.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of just had to put Georgia in because that's where he was committed. Obviously, I feel like if you're decommitting from a place, you're not going to be like decommit and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to Georgia still. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna have my second commitment and still go to Georgia." But no, I mean he said after he announced that it was always Bama or Auburn.
Yeah, so. And I mean, hat theory was not in Georgia's favor at all. If you're familiar with hat theory at all, and Auburn was easy to kind of if you look at the hats, it was easy to kind of see that it was Auburn because Auburn hat looked worn. Like, you can tell when a hat's been worn, like one of these hats, because the bill gets more curved. The Georgia hat was just plopped on the table. So if a hat's plopped on the table, they're out of it. It's not them. The Georgia hat was just there, so there was a nice like three-peat going on. But the Bama hat didn't look as worn as the Auburn hat did. And then he pulled out the new one out of the bag. But I mean, again, just holy crap, that still happened, by the way. And I'll just go ahead and I'm just going to put this question up for everybody just to answer. I'll probably throw up some comments on here in a little bit. Just everyone, what are your thoughts on Auburn picking up Demarcus Riddick, the first 5-star of the class, the first 5-star of the Hugh Freeze era? And I like it's freezing in here. Timing is free. Just I love the freezing thing. Especially the Auburn one, like the cold front ahead or freeze warning. I love those so much.
Yeah, who would have thought that it would take Hugh Freeze to come to the Plains for us to get like a little bit of like drip?
Not me whatsoever.
So
no. Considering he's gotten so much flack for being like a Gus Malzahn, like a duplicate, you would not expect drip from Gus Malzahn, and I guess you wouldn't expect any drip from Hugh Freeze. But the memes are flying, and I mean,
the icy white recruit picks. I mean, I've been loving it, man.
Now it begs the question: is he going to bring the orange jerseys?
If we have that debate again, I'll be here for it. I wanted them when Harsin was talking about them. So
yeah, I'm gonna throw up some comments from Clifford Radney. I'm just gonna throw this up just because I want to do it. Or damn Eagle, good to be an Auburn Tiger. It is a great day to be an Auburn Tiger, and I mean I can't say that enough. First 5-star since 2019, first 5-star of the Hugh Freeze era. It's a great day to be an Auburn Tiger. And let's go ahead. James Barnett. I think Perry and Bolden are next. Yeah, I think Perry is the most likely to commit next. I think he's going to do it during Big Cat Weekend. If he does, just keep it. I don't want to be as confident as I was just yet. But I mean, did you see his Instagram post? Is it on his story?
Perry's?
Yeah.
No, I follow him too, which is the craziest part because I don't follow many recruits, but I follow my boy Perry. What did he put?
He put it was a black screen that tagged Demarcus Riddick, and like a smiling emoji, right there.
Okay.
So if it happens, we saw it all there. So just keep that in mind going to Big Cat Weekend, that Auburn could get their second receiver of the class, but definitely I'd probably say the second biggest name in this class as well. And let's see let's go back to see Michael or Trey Bonner. Timing is the key for sure with the freeze emoji. Yeah. Again, timing. The first domino to fall. I've seen a lot of those comments in here a lot. Just talk about how it was the first domino to fall. I mean, we said Cam Coleman was going to be the first domino. That didn't happen. That domino kind of rocked, and then it fell the other way. But then you push the next one, and that's Demarcus Riddick. It was a bigger domino. It's a position of need. A guy who not only is being recruited by Alabama, but also being recruited by Georgia. And you're sitting there wondering, just who's next? And we're saying Perry Thompson, but I mean, if it was Kamarion Franklin or if it's KJ Bolden, Jalewis Solomon, I mean, Auburn fans are in a situation they've never been in before. And I'm saying that as an Auburn fan. You are actively hopeful that the next recruit is going to be another big name. You are actively looking for the next big-time 5-star, high 4-star that's going to commit to Auburn because they believe what Hugh Freeze is telling them. And it's not something that we've had in a coach in a hot minute. And, I mean, I don't think Gus Malzahn was that great of a recruiter. I think just early on, Auburn had enough success where he was picking up players like that. And now we're watching a guy who is taking a team who didn't win a national championship in the last 10 years like Auburn did when he was recruiting. Or after 2013, didn't just go to the national championship. It had to just all right, if you want to go back, here come to Auburn. He is taking a team that the last time they went to a bowl game, they lost to Birmingham Bowl to Houston. And again, just to say bowl games, haven't won a bowl game since Birmingham Bowl against Memphis, I think. I think that's the last bowl game Auburn has won. A team that has not had hardware to put in their cases, and a team that has just gotten out of having the worst coach in the history of their football program. And now he's turning it into high 4 stars, 5 stars, just all the success that he's getting in this recruiting class. And I mean, it's hard. I feel like I'm sunshine pumping. I'm pulling a Tarr with basketball. That's what I feel like right now. It's just me just saying, oh, yeah, this is going to be a top 3 class in the country. Auburn's going to flip everybody in Georgia's class. Just expect those things to happen.
It's an exciting time. I'm not going to go that far, but it is exciting. I think, and he's doing all this, like you said, it is his first full season. He has not coached a football game here yet, and he's doing all this. Imagine, let's say he goes out and he beats Bama or Georgia this season. Imagine going and telling that to recruits in Alabama and in Georgia and saying, look, it's my first year, but we are already building something here. We're knocking off the big boys that are on either side of us. See what we can do.
Yeah, and I mean, even I'm gonna pull up Bob's comment here about A&M. I don't look for Coleman to flip unless Texas A&M has a flop of a season. You talk about beating Georgia or Alabama. Imagine Auburn just starting off 4-0, beating UMass at home under the lights of Jordan Hare Stadium, then going over to California and playing Cal at 2 a.m. And then you take on FCS Samford, and then you travel for your first true away game. I say that because I think there's going to be more Auburn fans in Berkeley than there are Cal fans. You go into College Station. You take on a team who is pretty much debating on it if they're willing to write an $80 million check or not to Jimbo Fisher to get him out of College Station. And you've already lost you lost one of your biggest recruits to Texas A&M. And he's going to be there in College Station when Auburn comes to play. If Hugh Freeze can find a way to beat Texas A&M in just his first year, and we talk about how much this season reminds us of going from 2012 to 2013. Auburn's first SEC game in 2013, the year they kick 6, prayer Jordan Hare, national championship appearance, all that jazz. Their first SEC game was against A&M in College Station. And, that's the infamous call right there. The Auburn Tigers have just announced to the college football world that they are back. This is A&M, and I 24/7 has said it. We're probably going to talk about it in tomorrow's show as well. How A&M is just that much of an important game for Auburn, not just for just setting the tone for Hugh Freeze, but also for recruiting. Because you're like, oh, well, Hugh Freeze just went out and just put together a team that's better than last year's, because it's hard not to be. And he just went out and beat a team who's going to be a top 15 team at the time. And you don't expect him to be Georgia. You don't expect him to be Alabama in year one. But if you start off 4-0, you take down A&M and College Station, you get Jimbo Fisher fired, because that's definitely going to happen if he loses to Auburn. Because I think he is on a very short leash, and I think that check's probably already made. They just have to date it. If you can find a way to take down A&M, and I mean, you get Jimbo fired. No, someone else is writing the checks for A&M recruits. You find a way to get Cam Coleman. You bring in if you bring in Cam Coleman and Perry Thompson, you're set for at the bare minimum 3 seasons of Walker White, Fat Burnett, Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Martavis Collins leading the charge on the offense, and then defense again: Demarcus Riddick, Joseph Phillips, Jalen Crawford, and then if you can pull it off, Jalewis Solomon and KJ Bolton. And that is, you talk about young fronts or young teams in like basketball, and how like Kentucky's putting together this like young core that's all like highly rated players, how they're potentially going to the national championship. Auburn has a chance to go in the 2024 with a very young starting core in just those few players. Like KJ Bolden, I think is good enough. He'd play off the bat. I don't know about Jalen Crawford and Jalewis Solomon. I think Auburn's DBs are just too good for them to get in before, I want to say, like JD Rim and Austin Osbury and Kyan Lee. I feel like Tarr would like sue me, or if I didn't mention Kyan Lee at any point. And then you bring in defensive linemen. If you can bring in Kamarian Franklin, if you can bring in other guys like those caliber, like you were setting up your team for 3 years, and I mean, maybe not 2024, but 2025, 2026. Auburn's looking like a team that's going to contest in the West, if not just in the SEC in general.
I mean, yeah, they're building something special here. I don't think it's crazy to say that you'll be able to tell a difference between a Hugh Freeze committed player or a Hugh Freeze recruited player on the field and a previous coach. I think you'll be able to tell the difference right away just on how they play.
Yeah, we'll pull up some more comments here. Bob Williams, I believe we finished the top 12 in recruiting, and yeah, I completely agree with that. I think at the bare minimum, you're looking at a top 15 class if you can retain all of these guys and get them to sign. And because if you can bring in like all the names we've been saying all show, if you can bring in those guys, I think you're looking at a top 12 class, top 10 class, and a team. And you gotta get them quick, because Auburn with Demarcus Riddick right now, Auburn is now up to I think it's 12 commits, and they still rank as I think the fewest to have the fewest recruits in a class right now. There we go. Because I mean 11, and then it goes 18 all the way up to Georgia has like what 26. Yeah, 26.
A lot more.
Yeah. But I mean, you're looking at Auburn's class right now. You have a 5-star, 9 4-stars, and 2 3-stars. And you have a coach who is actively recruiting in the portal. I mean, 2026, I don't want to say get on the Auburn hype train and like place a bet, put your mortgage on Auburn going to the national championship. But 2026, 2025, I'm going to say 2025, I can see Auburn going from finishing maybe 4th or 5th this year, finishing maybe 3rd, 4th next year. 2025, Auburn could win the West with Hugh Freeze. And I'm saying that without seeing him coach a game. The only game I've seen him coach is A-Day, and I don't want to use A-Day as my amalgamation of how he coaches, because A-Day was just not fun to watch. But
yeah, You hope it's not like A-Day. He quits three quarters of the way through.
Ends
But
in a tie.
yeah, I hope that's not how he coaches. I don't think it is.
Yeah, go back to Trey Bonner. Freeze was our guy all along. I think going into the offseason, I think Hugh Freeze was kind of seen as like a safety pick. Like I don't think Hugh Freeze was a guy that I don't think he was like the number one guy on the board. He might have been, but it didn't seem like it at the time. But if he was, and if he wasn't, I mean, if he wasn't the number one on your board, that's a steal of a pick right there. Especially with how he's been recruiting.
I didn't think it happened. I'm happy it has happened, but I did not think it would happen.
And let's see, Bob again. Gus rode the success of the 2010 team for several years. Very true. I mean, Auburn built an entire focus of hope based on hiring him in 2013. And I'm gonna go with the last comment here from Bob again. If we go 8-4 or better this season, we are competing for the SEC West next season. Yeah, I cannot agree with that anymore. And I think Auburn has a chance to finish. I think 8-4 is probably is like the standard.
Standard.
I think 8-4 is the standard.
You think 8-4 is the standard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
what's the ceiling? What's the ceiling?
Ceiling?
What's the ceiling?
The ceiling, I want to say 10-2.
10-2.
With losses to LSU and Baton Rouge and Georgia. You take 2 losses early, and you finish out the season on I guess at that point be a 6-game win streak.
I think the Texas A&M game is going to decide most of our season.
Yeah, and I think A&M always ends up deciding how the season goes from. If an early A&M game usually decides how the season goes for Auburn.
Yeah, we beat A&M. I think 8-4 is not out of the realm. I think that's reasonable. But if we lose to A&M, I think 8-4 is probably off the table at that point.
Yeah, I think if we lose to A&M, I think 7-5, 6-6, which
yes,
I'm okay with.
I will take that 100 every day. Listen, I'm seeing improvement, and I'm getting excited for Auburn football.
I just got reminded, Mike McKinney, there will not be a West after this year. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, so Auburn has.
I just went along with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just this has been in my like life since I started watching football. So divisions are all I know. So I don't even know where Auburn can finish next year because you're just going from trying to finish in the top 7 of a division to trying to finish top 2 in a conference. Now that's going to have 16 teams next year too.
That will be difficult, especially with just how deep the SEC is, top heavy really. But
I mean, just to wrap up the show, just talk about Demarcus Riddick is going to set the standard for the rest of Auburn's recruiting cycles. He's setting the tone for this recruiting cycle. Again, the first domino to fall of what is going to be a huge weekend. And a weekend I'm going to have to stay on my phone so I can get these commitment graphics up in time. But and one more comment. Mark Silvers, the weekend, the Iceman cometh. Yeah. So, Colin, just to ask you a question, how you feeling right now, man?
I'm feeling good. Like I said, this is the most excited I've been for Auburn football in years.
In the future Auburn football as well.
Yes, mostly the future, but I'm
Colin,
pumped.
Would you say you're feeling a little loopy?
I'm feeling just a little loopy.
Feeling just a little loopy. Well, in that case, Colin, do I have the shirt for you? The Feeling Loopy shirts are available on the War Report shop right now. And just to have them, they are available in a series of colors. That is the navy heather, the black heather, and the gray heather. All of those. And there's also 2 other colors as well. But just cycle through those. These shirts are mad comfortable. They are. Colin, you don't have one yet. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
we got to get you one at some point.
Yeah, intern Colin didn't get a shirt, but that's okay.
In our defense, I don't really have a defense, but yeah, Colin, we're going to get you one of these, and y'all need to get y'all one as well because these shirts, they're beautiful. And if you can't tell, they got a nice little War Report podcast network on them, the logo right there, and of course the Feeling Loopy on the chest. And again, it is a comfy comfy shirt. And again, just throw it back up there for y'all. Go to thewarreport.com and go to their shop and get you a Feeling Loopy shirt today. But yeah, Colin, this is a huge step in the right direction for this Auburn recruiting class. And go ahead and just let everybody know they can love you, find you, support you before we get out of here.
Yeah, just follow my Twitter at Beyersdorf Colin. That's BEYERSDORF Colin.
And of course, I'm Dylan Larck at your boy Tank on Twitter. Again, it's just right there. It is also in the description below, where you can also go find the War Report shop. Click that link, and you can find the shirt there. Pick your favorite color of the selections. Get your size. Get the shirt now, because they are gorgeous. But again, they follow the College Loop literally everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Get us to 500 subs. Colin has to do a dance. Get us to 1,000. We're gonna get a MySpace. It's all fun and games over here. It's gonna be fun when Colin has to post on MySpace. You're gonna become the MySpace intern, by the way.
Oh, I'm gonna be the MySpace guy?
Yeah, you're gonna be the MySpace guy.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and get your jorts, get a nice little flow going, get full 2007 get up going on.
I'm from Florida. We do jorts there.
But with all that being said, it's been the College Loop podcast.